All right, everybody, we're back for the finals. It's all come down to this. We're going to start out with our middle school matchup. And Hannah, we've seen both of these teams on stream, not just this year, but several years running.
This is the ultimate rematch. Their overall records are incredibly impressive. I think for School Scrabble, Nathaniel's record is 24-0, not a loss ever. Milo's just one game behind that, other than the finals.
I didn't know that.
So it's an impressive. I mean, both teams incredibly intimidating.
What an accomplishment, first of all, to think about somebody going 3 years of this tournament without losing a single game. But man, sometimes it's close, winning those really, really tight games. Takes a lot of skill. We've seen it for 3 years running with Nathaniel Campos. His partner this year, Rishi Palicha, is right alongside him for this journey. Amazing to have a chance at winning 3 straight School Scrabble championships. But if anybody is primed to potentially take him down, it would be Milo Anderson and Nathan Lurlop. So we'll just have to see. You can see the players are seated and ready to rock here in this finals game. Nathanael and Rishi, 8-0. Hannah, you mentioned it. No losses, a chance to completely run the table in 3 years running. That is one of the most impressive accomplishments in School Scrabble history if Nathanael and Rishi can pull it off.
Absolutely. Now, I do think it's of note that I believe it's just whoever wins this last game. The spread and record up to this point do not matter. It is just winner takes all on this one game. No pressure, right?
Absolutely. Hopefully the players are managing not to feel that pressure. Of course, it would be only natural for them to be feeling a little jitters right now. But hopefully once the game gets started and maybe both teams will draw some decent sets of tiles, they'll each ease into that game and the pressure will dissipate.
Right. And 3 of 4 kids here, 8th graders too. So this is the last year for it. What a first 4 letters. ERS blank. That's kind of as good as your first 4 letters can be.
Wow. We're going to see a bingo come down quickly here for sure from Nathanael and Rishi. This is exactly the way that they would have hoped to start. Let's see what. Ooh, wow.
But there'll be a gravitas coming down off of that S.
Yeah.
Are we going to have a bingo bango just to start off this game? That would be appropriate.
We could, but I would definitely say that Nathanael and Rishi's tiles are a little bit easier with that blank, as opposed to Milo and Nathan are going to be forced to find a very difficult 8-letter word. I'm so curious to see, will they? Look at their tiles.
They've
man.
Got it.
Tremendous. What a start.
I was never worried about their finding that bingo. I think we are going to see a 2 bingo start to this game. They're maybe considering like erasure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They look like they might have been considering reassure with only 1 S there for a minute, but I don't think they're going to play that. I think they know,
and they have surreal setup. They have plenty of bingos. Now Milo and Nathan are like, well, probably our opponents won't play an S for gravitas, but that's going to really ease the sting of getting bingoed upon. Do it without a blank and an S.
I'm so curious to see if Nathanael and Rishi will play a word that places an S on that center star, right? What if they play something like assurer and they try to put an S there and allow gravitas to score an enormous amount to the triple word in the center of the board? What I mean by that is, if there's so many options that Nathanael and Rishi have, but if they are going to, are they? They're going to play arouser. Great choice by them. The S in this spot right here, nowhere near as dangerous. If had they placed it here, gravitas would score an enormous amount to the triple word score. So very clever positioning, avoiding putting that S. You see the blank is an O. That is interesting, though, because now if either team thinks of it, a C could potentially go here for carouser. Let's see if that comes up later in the game.
I think we're definitely going to see, hopefully, gravitas comes down. I think I'd be a little disappointed if I didn't see it. Arouser is a great open to the game, and it's appropriate, I think, that we're going to potentially open with 2 bingos.
Yeah, that's a testament to this level of play. They have Viagra set up. I wonder. Uh, I
Oh,
don't
they
think
had
they're gonna play
Gravitas
that.
earlier. I hope they find it because, oh, they had it set up. I
Yeah,
mean, it would take some
true
Gravitas
gravitas.
to get there. No!
Oh, wow, they had it set
They
up.
had it. Okay,
That's
that's going to be
surprising.
maybe a little tough to look back on after, but it was a pretty low scoring bingo to open up the game. They've got perfectly fine letters. This doesn't portend anything for the rest of the
For
game.
sure. They're still very much alive. It's still very early. I think the only thing we're reacting to is just that they had the exact letters set up on their rack in the order that we hoped. And now you see they're going to be hoping for an N to play wrathing, which is a valid word.
Is euphonia a word? Did I make that up?
I think it is. That would be an absolutely astounding find if they were to play euphonia here. Oh, I think that's not in
Maybe
this
it's not a word.
dictionary.
Okay, not in this dictionary.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
that makes me feel a little better
Okay,
about them
so
not
yeah,
seeing it.
no euphonia for them, but yeah, it's going to be tricky. Nathaniel and Rishi with a couple good scoring tiles in the P and H. There is no playable bingo here. For those of you playing the International Dictionary, can't play that here. So you're going to have to find a way to score some points. And of course, they've got that nice early lead. They don't want to open anything, and they don't know this, but if they put an N out in space, it could be devastating to them. And that's a really nice cagey play here. I like it, Hannah.
Absolutely. It also does set up Milo and Nathan for their own nice kind of cagey, stacky play. They can just play hot. Looks like they've already set it up. They're going to get plenty of points for that move. They're really not down by that much for this being the very beginning of the game. They're about to get themselves, I don't know, 30 points for this play. They're right there in it.
Yeah, if they can get that next bingo down, they're going to be right back in this game in a hurry. The lead is nowhere near out of reach right now, especially with this very nice overlapping play that you suggest. So the nice thing about Haw is they could have played their T here as well, but by leaving it off, if they were to draw a 7-letter word starting with T, now they'll be able to play the T next turn going down in that spot. And in general, the T, a very nice bingo tile, a nice tile to keep along with that R, G, and I. I wonder if Milo and Nathan will pull that N that really helps turbocharge their bingo chances here for the ING combo. It looks like they didn't get it.
But an E at least is helpful.
For sure.
You know what we can see with Nathaniel and Rishi is that they have their letters in alphabetical order, which shows they've definitely been studying. I think that's how the tiles appear on a lot of studying
Telltale sign,
interfaces.
for
In
sure.
my mind, I'd automatically put that ing together, but they're like, nope. First, I want to look at it alphabetically, which is just a telltale sign, like you said, of
Yeah.
some really, really dedicated players.
Looks like they've set their ing to the side, that useful suffix, I should say. Doesn't look like the rest of the letters with those K and U and D together. A little bit too clunky to have really a bingo chances with this rack, but I'm sure that Nathaniel and Rishi will be trying to use that U if they can. Maybe get the K somewhere on the board to score decently and see if they can keep ing together, unless maybe they're going to look to play duking somewhere. I'm not sure where they would, but if they can find a way to score some points here, even if it were to break up the ing combination on their rack, it would be well worth it. They don't have to worry that much about getting the next bingo down, but playing some defense here with that early lead will help them.
That's right. There's a suggestion from the Quackle to play KA to make ha ha, which is definitely cute, but I think a little too risky at this point in the game. KA takes an S and an O in front. It would just be inviting a triple lane bingo. I don't know that I would do that. It looks like they're looking for something with the OW, which is also kind of hard to use. Honestly, if I were them, I might just play ask through the S of arouser. You want to get rid of one vowel, like maybe the K. They don't have terribly much they can do at this point.
Yeah, I actually really like that suggestion, Hannah. Just playing ask,
Thank you.
it blocks the E, which right now that feels like one of the bigger threats on the board. The E of arouser is often the ending letter of 8-letter words. So if you are worried about your opponent playing a big word like that, just playing and ask is going to cut a ton of those bingos off. It would basically need to end in SE or LE. I guess HE is not possible anymore with both H's on the board. A play like Ask really does a great job of blocking off some of the scary threats that Nathaniel and Rishi are facing.
Absolutely. And also helpful because we've been talking about this in a few games. It kind of forces the other player's hand for saying, "Hey, I'm not going to open it up. What are you going to do?" So they're opting for owing. They're playing off their ing. We saw a few teams in this tournament fall into the trap of holding on to an ing too long. I don't know that it would have gotten rid of mine so quickly in this game, but it is a nice leave. I'm interested to see how the tile gods respond and what they end up with. Ooh, and they pick a Z. Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
sometimes you kind of have to make a decision in a game. Are you going for the bingos or are you going for the high scoring tiles? And they went with the high scoring tiles for me.
Yeah, and it seems like they got some extra ammunition in that regard. To your point of maybe there are plays with haha that might be good. Now za will just fit right there for a really good score, getting 30 points alone for that Z if that's what they want to do. But meanwhile, it's Milo and Nathan's turn. They are playing Brig. I think this makes a little bit of sense. There was maybe an option to just play big because the R pairs so nicely with some of the other tiles that they have. But they've gone for a couple extra points. I can't say I think it's a big issue one way or
A
another.
brick issue.
Oh,
I
man.
also think it makes it a little more difficult to stack a word underneath for some quick points. They're lucky that Nathaniel and Rishi can't come back with some big Z play through that B right now, but that's definitely a risk. Uh, yeah, it
Now
looks
there it
like
comes, the play. Oh, well, at least it's being pointed out. Nathaniel picking up his Z and A and maybe getting ready to play would be upwards of 40 points in that spot. So that is a very nice heavy score there.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love to see that for them. So back over to Milo and Nathan, who drew, it looks like they drew an M and an F, not exactly the tiles they would have wanted to see with the rest of their low pointers.
And another I, which is going to be
Mm.
important to get rid of. We don't want to see them trapped as they did to their opponents in the last round, trapping them with multiple eyes round after round.
Yeah, so clearly they are considering, oh, this
Oh,
would
they're
make
considering
sense. Yeah,
FE. Now that's smart.
that's a lot of points. That I, putting the F there will score 24 points by itself. You're getting the F on the triple letter score. That's 12 points. Two different words formed by that. You're going up
Whew.
to, oh,
And they
what did they
picked an
get here?
N, which they really needed to make this double I thing work in some
Oh,
capacity.
look at this. Oh, we're going to see unbooked be played. Now,
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
beautiful.
that this is a Collins word. Yeah. So
Oh,
I have studied words like this that look so plausible. This word, I just wonder, will Milo and Nathan think to challenge it or not? It looks so reasonable, but man, if it's just 10-point challenge, I feel like you have to challenge it
right. I
here
think our
just to be
players are
sure. But instead,
retiming. They're
that's
going for
great.
their bingo. Now, I
Okay.
think that would have been the right call if it had been a void challenge, but I think our players are maybe unused to that. Since it is only a 10-point challenge, they would only risk giving 10 more points to their opponents. I say challenge away,
Yeah,
be confident.
but a great play by them nevertheless. Maybe the slightest missed opportunity there. Unbooked, of course. It looks so much like a word. How could it
Oh,
not
I'm a
be?
stand up comic and I'm unbooked all the time.
Well, clearly
Whenever I have a free night, I'm
you're
unbooked.
you're proving why you shouldn't be. But yeah, that's
Yes.
definitely a very reasonable word. But again, it feels like for the little cost of 10 points, you would try to challenge it. But wow, look at that draw. The
Whew,
blank, the
power tile
Q, and the
heavy.
J for Milo and Nathan, and an X for Nathaniel and Rishi.
And I should point out, someone in the chat is correct. I meant a double challenge, not a void challenge. Double meaning you lose a turn if you're
Oh, sure,
incorrect.
sure, sure.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, Nathaniel and Rishi have, that X, which is really strong. They do kind of have a clunky rack, though. A
Mm.
lot of consonants, certainly not bingo friendly letters. The question is going to be, how do they utilize
Oh, nice
this
play.
triple that's open? I think that was the right move. Get rid of the V, hopefully get rid of another consonant with it. Leave that X for a higher scoring opportunity, which we know they're capable of holding on just one more turn, uh, with their Zaw play, with they know what they're doing. Of course, they ended up
Um,
with another clunky rack, just one vowel to play with.
Yeah, I'm impressed by how quickly they found that play of vlog, which really, I wouldn't say that's the easiest play to spot either. Not a lot of words starting with the VL combination. And in fact, that really was about the best play they had through that open G on the triple. So, had they not blocked that spot, we could be seeing big plays with one of those power tiles. Something like Jag to that G would score great for Milo and Nathan using the J on the triple. So nice play by Nathanael and Rishi, but Milo and Nathan have so much power on their rack. You
It's
could
true.
easily see a combo of the J, the Q, and then maybe a bingo with that blank.
It's a little overwhelming, I think, sometimes when you have multiple high scoring tiles or just multiple power tiles on your rack all at once. If I'm Milo and Nathan, I think I'm maybe considering just playing QAID through the second eye of retiming. It gets the Q some points. You have a blank, so you could potentially hook an S there. After the fact, gets rid of that double A. You're you're going to want to play, in my opinion, either the Q or the J this turn. Sticking with both of them on your rack, it's going to get harder and harder to get good points for both. Now, the benefit of playing off the J is that you have that open U in unbooked that you could potentially use for your Q. But in my opinion, QAID, getting rid of the double A, getting points for your Q, not opening up a bunch of high scoring opportunities unless your opponent has an S, I say that's the move.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. The other nice thing about playing QAID, Cade right here, is that if you do manage to eventually draw an S or a bingo with your blank as an S, you now have a great place to play it here, pluralizing a heavy word that has a Q in it. And they do have that blank in hand. I would say I don't have any data on this, but I would say in general, I suspect that the blank is probably most frequently designated as an S because that is such a useful letter when you have, let's say you have 6 letters and a blank and you can find a noun in those 6 letters to play. There you go. You make your blank an S and voila, you've got a bingo. So you could easily see that come into play. It looks like they've picked their J up instead. I wonder what they're going to go for here.
Oh, Aji.
Just yeah, ahi or
Okay.
whatever you would
Oh,
say for
right.
that. So yeah, this is maybe as you said, Hannah, they could be looking at that U of unbooked at the top of the board and saying, man, if we can just get a couple other good tiles, maybe we'll get something good through that U at the top of the board.
Absolutely. I mean, it's unfortunate that the U isn't one spot over. Oh, and of course, now it's being potentially taken. Um,
Yeah.
FAUX, I actually think that would be a great play on Nathaniel and Rishi's part. At some point, you kind of have to cut your losses with the power tiles. On the other hand, it does kind of set up two different triple lanes for bingos. It really opens up the board. They're ahead right now. They might want to consider doing something different, but it gets them some points. It gets rid of some of their clunkier letters. Now the question is, can they draw those much needed vowels to balance this rack out?
Yeah, and now you can see that the play we had wanted for them last turn of
There they go.
QA, sorry, it's a little high on the board there with my writing, but QAID now plays at that top of the board, and that could be a really, really good play for them. And is that what we're going to see? It sure is.
Wow.
Great play.
It's a great play. It shows great word knowledge and it leaves them with really, really nice tiles.
IT blank there. Let's just see what they get.
Okay,
Okay,
already
nice
off to a good
mix.
start.
And now, what is that last pair of tiles? Oh, the
Oh,
W has
gosh.
come to spoil everything for them. So tough. If they had just gotten one more good bingo tile instead of the W, of course, those high point tiles in Scrabble, good for scoring well in shorter words, not so good for those 7 and 8 letter words. And with that blank in hand, that is what Milo and Nathan are gunning for here. So they did not want to see the W come onto their rack there.
Although, they could easily play something like Watt to form do off of retiming, open up another bingo lane, and leave a good lead for themselves. I think they are a move or two away from a bingo, which is a comforting place to be, especially when you also have these really playable tiles. All right, we're seeing.
Oh, that's not a valid word. Let's see. This
Wow.
is a golden opportunity here for Milo and Nathan. They have to try to think to themselves, is this a word? It just looks like they are not really. They're giving Nathanael and Rishi a lot of credit, but maybe too much credit, as now we've seen a second phony word come onto the board. But maybe there's something good that Milo and Nathan will be able to do through it does open an E on the board, which is, and you see they use it right away. But maybe a missed opportunity there. Pinced, only pincer is a valid
Right.
word.
It's hard because you think, do pincers pinch? Is that what they do? But
True, true.
uh, a totally plausible word. Absolutely get why they did it. I maybe would have considered, I mean, it would have been a lot riskier to play MOW instead of WO, but I think they're hopefully going to find bingo. The problem is now they almost have to do an 8-letter bingo. But I wouldn't put it past Milo and Nathan to find an 8-letter bingo, especially they can start with an outward using that O from unbooked. I bet they can figure something out.
Yeah, no question. And at this score, they really do kind of need to find one. They're going to need to try to get that next bingo down. You see, it's getting close to a 60-point gap on the scoreboard. That is why that challenge of Pinst would have been so huge right there. Not only would you remove the points from that, but you get an extra turn. Challenging off your opponent's word still would result in them losing a turn, even with all the changes we're considering with the challenge rules. So, yeah, that's a tough one. But let's see if they can soldier on, find a way to get that
It's
next bingo
true.
down.
If Nathaniel and Rishi set them up with a T or a Y, they'll have maturity. So,
Oh,
which would be an appropriate word
and they
for
have a
this level of
lot.
play.
They have T's. You see it there.
And a Y. I could see the argument of playing off toy under dot. I don't think they would do that. I think they'd offer something like yet to not open up the
They
board, and
spelled
they
it
found
out.
maturity. Yep.
They've spelled it out.
So if they do, okay, no, looks like their calmer heads will prevail. They are not
Yeah.
going to open up another, and they
Yeah.
found ruminate.
So
They
Hannah's suggesting that toy here, right? That would potentially result in the massive maturity to the triple. Is that what you're?
That's exactly right. Fortunately for Nathaniel and Rishi, they were smarter than that. I also think that was just a better play in general, because it got rid of more of those consonants. They have a nice leave now. Watch it be that now they draw way too many vowels. Ain't that the way? And they've blocked down this potential bingo lane. So now we either have to start a bingo with a vowel to get it on top of the X in faux, or we need to start opening up more lanes.
Yeah, that's true. This spot after faux, I guess that could have been seen as the one drawback of faux for Nathaniel and Rishi, getting rid of that X and scoring decently, but it did open 2 different triple lanes, one of which remains open. And yeah, could Milo and Nathan, this is a golden opportunity. If they could just think of that word atriums, not an easy word to find by any means, but it is available. The key, though, is if they don't play up there, they certainly need to consider potentially opening somewhere else on the board.
Okay.
And they may be trying to do that here with Amu on top of Dottie.
I think that was a smart play if you don't find the bingo, because the only hook, as far as I know, is an S for that. You have a
True.
blank. You have to hope that your opponents aren't able to bingo off of it, which, even though they have found a lovely word on their rack, Nathaniel and Rishi are not going to be able to place that bingo, as far as I see.
Now they have erratic. Oh gosh, it would play there. Milo and Nathan, if they could think to make that blank an E, they could potentially play erratic over on the top of the X, which would be a huge blow in this game. Let's see as they arrange their tiles whether they're able to find it or not.
I could see them finding it because I think IC might be
Oh, look, they're getting closer.
IC might be their way to find. There we go. They're putting the IC at the end because that is a suffix they can use.
Oh,
Right, right.
it's getting
Oh,
so close.
oh, it's so okay. So we're seeing leg go down. I think that's a very smart move. They're leaving.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, they have spotted it. Erratic. All that's left now is to see the spot at the top of the board. That is
And I think I just
exactly
saw
what
Nathan
they
point
need.
to it.
Here it comes, folks. This
Whew.
has become a game again.
I wish you all could see our body language because I had to do a little jump.
Yeah.
We saw that slowly happen. I said, they're going to get to that IC suffix.
But
They're
look,
going to.
outline on the rack and illusion 7-letter bingos. Do they fit anywhere on the board is the only question. Wow.
I mean, we couldn't have asked for a more evenly matched game in terms of the tiles our opponents have been getting. They're each getting a blank. They're each getting some power tiles. This is the thrilling stuff that Scrabble
Incredible.
streams are made of.
Incredible finals game. This is a huge draw for Milo and Nathan now. It looks like Nathanael and Rishi. Oh, the EST combination. Exactly what they need. Another S.
Oh my
Three
gosh.
S's. Absolutely incredible draw for them. Oddly, it's kind of an embarrassment of riches, maybe too much. Maybe another letter than that third S would allow them to bingo somewhere. Maybe it's from the C of erratic. Potentially, if you could just fit the S in the second spot of a 7-letter word, you'd see a bingo there. But either way, Milo and Nathan with a 4-point lead, and Nathaniel and Rishi more than up to the challenge. You see, they find illusion on their rack. Incredible word knowledge from those two. And I have no idea what's happening in this
Oh,
game right now,
me
Hannah.
either. I mean, listen, if I had to pick a tile to have too much of, S is a pretty good one because in order to get rid of it, you can normally find some high scoring plays. Not a ton of high scoring S spots on this board, but still, there are worse problems to have. Meanwhile, Nathaniel and Rishi have this problem where, hey, we found two valid bingos, can't find a spot for them. What's the next best thing to do? How do we, get ourselves some points
Yeah, it's not
with these
easy.
1-point tiles?
But it looks like they've hit on what I think is their best bet, and that's to use their U to play down from this Q. Sorry about that for the telestration. I was just saying this Q is going to be the spot. So let's feel free to zoom in on their decision now and see what they decide to do. And it looks like they're going with coin. I really like this idea, Hannah.
Absolutely. If you have these 1-point tiles, you're looking for your scoring opportunities on the board. They found all of the highest scoring plays they could on their rack. That's not going to cut it. So now they had to utilize something that was already in place. They did that with coin. They also left themselves with still really bingo friendly tiles, given what's still in the bag.
Looks like there's a lot of E's still remaining in the bag, if I'm not mistaken. That could be a factor here.
Right. Our tiles remaining just looks like.
Yeah, look at the tiles left. Wow,
Ooh.
the Y is the only tile worth more than 1 point still available in the remaining tiles from Milo and Nathan's point of view. So there is definitely a chance here if they are able to find a way to score a lot of points on this turn and draw that Y, they could find themselves potentially outscoring Nathaniel and Rishi without even needing another bingo in this game to seize the lead. But certainly with those 3 S's and beautiful bingo tiles, they have to be thinking about how am I going to get that winning bingo down to clinch the championship.
Absolutely. And even if they can't bingo, they're not guaranteed to win with that because they do have to make up 24 points right now and keep Nathaniel and Rishi from also scoring high. The nice news for them is they have the only S's remaining. So is there a way they could set themselves up for an S hook that only they can utilize. I'm wondering if there's somewhere on the board, maybe a WOE, right? Off of
Mm.
WO,
Oh, they could
where,
just play EST in that spot,
right,
making
there's
woe
no
and
way to
legs.
block it.
What a brilliant. That's incredible, Hannah. That's an amazing suggestion
Oh,
that
thank
Hannah
you.
is making. Potentially, they could play something like EST here, and this S hook that they would create here would be essentially completely unblockable. I have no idea how they would block it except to try to play something really long from the C down the board, and that would not score very many points.
Another option is if they wanted to do something like set to make use and doge, something where if their opponent were to block it, they would kind of force a low scoring play, or they'd get the spot themselves. I hope they have 13 minutes. They have plenty of time. Okay, they're going with tins. That's not bad. You're getting some points down. You're blocking lanes, so you know if your opponent has something good. But I would have liked to see them realize, hey, we have the only S's left. What can we do with this?
Let's see if they draw that wide. Oh my gosh, three E's come onto Milo and Nathan's rack. That is an absolutely crushing draw. They did not pick up the Y that they would have needed to score well on their next turn. And now, once we get that score
I believe
updated,
they're down by 10
they're
points,
going to
if I'm
be
not
down
mistaken.
by 10. It's so weird that the Y would make such a big difference in this game, but it is the only tile remaining that's worth more than 1 point. So whoever gets it is going to have a big advantage in the end game.
I see someone asking us in the Twitch stream how many games are in the finals. It's just this game. It all comes down to this. Oh my goodness. The good news for them is that those low scoring tiles are also what Nathaniel and Rishi have. At this point, they're just going to have to find a spot to try and get as many points as they can. It's going to be the battle of these little plays. This game is all coming down to endgame, which is what you really hope for in a finals matchup like this.
Absolutely
I think
true.
we're about to see something from Milo and Nathan. I would see something like tease under Brig, anything to rack up points in any way you can. They're down by 10. There's just a few tiles left in the bag. There's only one tile worth more than a point, and it's a Y, which doesn't have terribly many super fun spots on this board. Whew, this is going to be a
Insane.
close one.
Insane. It's really going to come down to, I think, like I keep saying, the Y is a key tile. It's still in the bag waiting to be drawn. Um, I do feel at this point the draw of those three E's was a rough one for Milo and Nathan, and it's not clear to me that they're going to have another chance to go for a bingo here because there are so few tiles in the bag. But all right, nice, very, very nice play by Nathaniel and Rishi of Or making all those nice hooks. I wonder, is there some way? I guess they would. Nyla and Nathan would consider pluralizing with Doges, but even that doesn't score too many points. Again, those 1 pointers are going to be tough to score well with, and they're moving so fast. They have so much time left,
Okay, I
Hannah.
know. They made a perfectly good play. I would have liked to see. I mean, they still could consider setting themselves up. Now I think we're going to see the word I come down, EYE, from Nathaniel and Rishi, probably under Brig,
Mm.
or maybe something putting the Y alongside coin. The point is, a Y is incredibly valued at this point because scoring just 20 points on a play is going to be enough to really uh, up seal the deal on this win. Oh, what an incredibly close game it's going to be. The final tile in the bag. And L, the good news for Milo and Nathan, they're going to be able to go out. Oh, Yet, that's even better than I. Putting Yet under Brig, smart play. Maybe they'll be able
Oh,
to go out for enough.
Dogi, if they know this Y hook, that
Right.
could be game over. All they have to do is figure out that that's a word. If they happen to know it, that's going to score so well to the triple. There are, as you said, though, Hannah, ample places to play the Y for a good score.
But
So,
that, I think putting it down in that triple would probably seal the deal for them as
mhm.
well.
It is worth noting Milo and Nathan with a very nice, flexible set of tiles. It seems almost a lock that they're going to end the game somewhere on their next turn. Maybe that's not true. The board is kind of close down a little bit, but maybe they'll be able to find a way. Oh, you know what could be interesting? If they have to, they may try to play something like Leets in this spot right here, taking a gamble that owings is a word, which I don't believe it is. But this could be a play that they're looking at as a game winner and a championship winner if they need to try it. And that spot stays open, but it is going to get challenged off the board if they try that.
It's true. I could see if Nathaniel and Rishi, right, don't see Doji, which I don't think they did. Now we have a conundrum of, is it worth it to try and go out somewhere, or is it worth it to actually get points and just play right underneath something like
Yeah,
tees?
that gives a huge score back. And that is an interesting play. Even though Yet scores very well, it's going to give back big plays hooking by in that spot. You see, they have one lined up, but will Nathaniel and Rishi actually manage to play out with these letters of OIEL? It's not going to be easy. I'm not seeing a spot right now. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But as I look over the board, it's not clear to me that Nathaniel and Rishi will have an outplay. Could that allow Milo and Nathan to squeak ahead here down the stretch of this game?
Right, and just an updated score for you all, which we'll see in a second. They're down by about 30 points, Milo and Nathan. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's 393 to 361. Is this not updated? Or is it that
Uh,
close?
it will be in a second.
Okay, right. So there we go. So it's about a 30-point difference, right? If they go out, they're only getting 8 points from their opponent. That means they still have to make up, what, 24 points? Which I don't know that they can do with those letters. So going out might not be worth it. The question is it just going to be futile and their opponent can then go out? I think tees or lees is the right move here. You just
Well,
have to hope you can maybe score enough to make it worth it.
so here's the thing. If they're able to play off just enough tiles in this spot, maybe actually keeping the S and saving it for somewhere else on the board for next turn is
Mm-hmm.
actually the idea. They could play something like ET in this spot, use the really nice overlap of buy, and then save your S for another spot. For example, if you play ET right here, leaving ELS, maybe playing SEL in this spot on your subsequent turn is enough to get you over the finish line. So it's possible that playing for the most points now, playing T's in this spot is the highest score you can get right now, but they need a 2-turn sequence that
Mm-hmm.
scores enough points to outscore Nathaniel and Rishi's highest scoring play, whatever that ends up being. So this is an incredibly complicated end game, and I really hope that Milo and Nathan just look at their clock and realize they've got almost 10 minutes to think this out, try to do some addition, adding up, think, what will my opponent play? All of those best practices of end games that are so difficult to do under pressure, but they have ample time to do those calculations now.
Absolutely. I know. I hope we see them take that time. And I think we are. They're triple checking, they're tracking. They want to make sure they know exactly what their opponents have. They're making sure that the scores are correct between the two of them. It can be really hard to not play as many tiles as you can at the end of the game to try and get rid of them. Oh, we're seeing some delicious decision making faces at this point.
Oh,
Um,
they really do have ample time, though. They just have to sort of think to themselves, and they are now getting set
okay.
to play Let's, and this is going to put a huge amount of pressure on Nathaniel and Rishi to find something that scores really well. This is going to be a great scoring play, but I do think if they could hold on to that S, they're going to have more options on their next turn. Let's see what they end up doing. I'm
That's
at the edge
right.
of my seat here.
You have to think it that the S is only getting you 5 points in this case, right? Can you get more than 5 points for your S in the next turn? Probably. They're
Probably
saving that E for maybe something like Amuse up off of AMUS.
true.
That's going to catch them right up, though. That's going to be what? 8, 9, 10, 12, 24. 30 points. They're going to be down by 2. Oh my
Wow.
gosh, this is a nail biter. This is the kind of stuff we're looking for.
Yeah,
I still
incredible.
don't know who's going to win this game.
A lot depends now on Nathaniel and Rishi. They're up by 2 points going into this turn. They're not going to be able to use all four of these tiles and end the game. There is no valid move that they have with all of those OEIL tiles on their rack. They're going to have to come up with some other play, but they do have a 2 point lead right now. So they just need to figure out a way to score enough points to outrun whatever Milo and Nathan can do with that last E. I'm
And they
so
actually,
curious.
according to Quackle, have a good number of options for that. Apparently, the winning move here, if they had just taken a little more time for it, was to just play ET on that last move instead of Let's. Let's only gets you a few more points, and otherwise, you can save those letters, use them for something really valuable to play catch up. Nathaniel and Rishi have a few high scoring moves that are just going to be impossible to come back from. If they hook their OE to make a muse and no, 11 points, I think 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 11, that's all you need.
Yeah, something
That's
like,
enough. Then they would have to get what? 9 points with their E to bring it back. I don't think there's a 9 point E spot,
yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
the nice thing about playing OE in that spot is also I think it's possible that this is the best spot for a lone E. So by playing if Nathaniel and Rishi play in that spot, they will be blocking off one of the better spots on the board for an E for Milo and Nathan. So man, it all comes down to this. There are definitely a handful of moves for Nathaniel and Rishi that will get them over the finish line to win their third consecutive School Scrabble
Wow.
championship.
And a perfect record of School Scrabble as well. 3 undefeated years. I think we are about to see that they were confirming the scores. They wanted to make sure that they had everything set perfectly. Uh, you don't want to go into a surprise ending where it's like, hey, I actually had 10 more points than that this whole time. They have a few different places to play for 10 or more points. But I think what's important here is as long as they score, I think the threshold would probably be like 8 points. I'm
Yeah,
not sure on the exact number, but as long as they get just a couple points down, they're going to be okay.
Yeah, in their shoes, they're mostly just looking all over the board. You can see they're making absolutely sure that they're not missing a good spot for an E. You see, they're scanning the board. Where could our opponents play an E for a good score? We can't be missing some big E hook somewhere. And in fact, once they finish surveying the board, they'll discover well, it's hard to know over the board for sure. We sit here
Right.
and know with our omniscient, status in the commentary booth, but we can tell you that there is no secret lurking spot for that E that's going to score a ton of points.
Wow. It also should be noted that according to Quackle, which is that software I was using to determine great moves, that playing off the E for woe, as I had talked earlier, would only have won 1 in 4 times according to Quackle. So Milo and Nathan, in case you're watching back on this, no need to pinch
Kick
yourself for
yourself.
that. You did just fine.
Yeah, for sure. That was
I
a really tough situation, too.
Absolutely. I also think Nathaniel and Rishi are maybe just double checking that it is in fact an E that their opponents have. I've played more than my fair share of games where I'm playing my end game off of the wrong assumption, thinking, oh, my opponent has an E when actually they've got an I, and that changes everything. So I think they're probably just quadruple checking. Hey, you take this half the board, I take this half. Let's both check 3 times and make sure it really is an E that we're playing with.
Yeah, wow. It's a great point. They definitely need to do that bookkeeping and make absolutely sure. It would be terrible, of course, and I've done this more times than I care to remember when you plan for your opponent to have a certain letter on their rack and then they play something totally different and you just face palm,
Right.
head, slap that head, whatever it is you do. I've been there and it's not a good feeling,
Especially
especially
when you
with
think
this on the
you've
line.
yeah. All right. Looks like they're going for coil, which works just as well to at least block a muse. It is 7 points, but it gets rid of 3 tiles, so it changes the calculus a little bit. They're up by 9. which means that Milo and Nathan need to score 7 points to tie the game. And I'm only seeing an option for 6 points.
Oh my God. Is
It
it
looks
really
like
going to
it's going to
come
be a
down
one
to
point
a
game.
1 point game? The best spot for the E on this board would just be placing it on the side of woe right here. This is the best
Oh,
spot for an E. 6 points. They need 7 in order to tie the game, I think, and 8
that's
to win.
correct.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
losing by a point.
Incredible.
I mean, what a fitting end for this tournament. Poor Milo is
Oh,
so close year after year to besting Nathaniel, but just couldn't eke it out. But I think all these players can really hang their heads high because what an incredible, incredible gameplay we saw from both opponents. You just couldn't get a closer game, and you couldn't get a more appropriate ending for these two just incredibly talented teams. I also want to take a moment to say that if you are interested in learning more about Scrabble, following Will, he has an amazing online presence for teaching people about Scrabble, and he is far more talented than I at Scrabble, but never makes me feel like a dum dum for missing obvious plays. So he's a great place
too
to start.
too kind, Hannah. Yeah, there's I feel like this is kind of a golden age of school Scrabble right now. I just remember, a decade or more ago, some of the things that we've seen in these games would have been absolutely outlandish at that time. The level of play that we've seen has risen to a truly amazing level. And okay, there you see a desperation play. The E was just placed if you missed it right here on the board. Fee, but the invalid word bridge here. This word is not in the dictionary, and we're going to
But
see
honestly,
that it's going to come off.
given that this comes down to only this game, I say go for it. Play Breege.
Absolutely. Why not?
Take that chance. Oh,
Yeah,
difficult loss.
you can almost see by their body language that they kind of knew that it wasn't likely to be good. Their instincts were that it wasn't likely, and that's going to do it. Barring, I mean, there is no real way that Nathaniel and Rishi could mess this up. They play their E in the correct spot of woe. Had Milo and Nathan done that, it would have been a 1 point loss. They had to go for it, and it didn't work
I
out.
don't think anybody can fault them for going for it. I also think we could not have asked for a more thrilling game. Oh my gosh, you can see Nathaniel just like exhausted from the emotional roller coaster that this game was. Just incredible, incredible play on both sides. Oh gosh, I hope Milo and Nathan are proud of themselves for how well they played this
They
game too.
should
We're
be.
seeing great sportsmanship here. Just, I mean, I was nowhere near this level. I don't even know if I'm near this level now. That was some really, really talented play,
Yeah.
really clever finds, really clever phonies, if I may say so myself, with unbooked things like that. Erratic was a beautiful play. I mean, there's just a lot for these players to go home proud about.
Yeah, for sure. Milo and Nathan fought so hard. That beautiful play of Erratic, getting them back in the game, giving them life. But it is going to be Nathaniel Campos and Rishi Palicha as our middle school champions. Incredible feat by Nathaniel. No slight to Rishi, who has joined Nathaniel as his partner this year. But Nathaniel and his partner last year and previous before that, Walden Giesentanner, is now our first ever School Scrabble competitor to win 3 years in a row. Amazing accomplishment by him.
We promised you a good nail biter game. We told you these are evenly matched teams. We fortunately got the tile situation where it was an evenly matched game. It came right down to the end. That's I can tell you from my Fitbit, my heart rate is up. That was a thrilling game right there.
Yeah, tremendous game. Again, it would have come down to a 1 point win had Milo and Nathan played their best play. They knew that was going to come up short, and they tried to go for it and hope that that word bridge without the D in it would be valid. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't, but we did just see an incredible piece of School Scrabble
It's
history take
true.
place. I think we will potentially now have our play of the game, and I'm going to say that I think it could have come from either team here. It was really incredible for
Really
both sides.
hard call.
So if we cut to our honor
Okay.
roll, you see it was the play by Milo and Nathan of Erratic at the top of the board. Of course, no shortage of plays we could have picked from the winning team, but really this play was an incredible way for Milo and Nathan to get back in this game and make it so exciting as it
It
was.
was such a clever find, and this is the first time that I've seen, I believe, that our honor roll play of the game, brought to you, of course, by the Word Game Players Organization, WIGPO is a huge sponsor for this tournament, came not from the winning team. A testament to the fact that this game was neck and neck.
Right, but the first play of the game was a bingo for Nathanael and Rishi, and this is the play that evened things back out and momentarily gave Milo and Nathan a lead. And I had to give Nathanael and Rishi so much credit. They didn't even seem phased when this happened. They even had a pretty difficult rack, all 1 point tiles, and nowhere to play their bingo of outline, but they stayed cool, calm, and collected, and they made some really good plays down the stretch of the game as well. So,
Absolutely. I think in just a second, we're going to send you to an interview with our now three-time School Scrabble champion, Nathanael, and now first-time champion joining along with him, Rishi.
And without further ado, we're going to bring in the amazing Jeffrey Polk and our winners of the middle school division of the North American School Scrabble Championship for the third time, setting the record, Nathanael Campos and his first-time partner, Rishi. Oh my God, you guys, what a game!
Congratulations!
Yeah.
Number one
Number one
middle school team in the entire North America right now. How are you guys feeling?
Very relieved because that game was really stressful, especially coming towards the end. And yeah, just happy that it's over.
How about you, Rishi?
Yeah, relieved is a really good word for it. Like, we were both extremely stressed during the game, so it's good that it's over now.
Happy?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have plans for celebrating, perhaps?
I think I'm gonna go eat dinner with my dad, and there's gonna be a very long car ride home. So
Yeah, car ride is pretty long and not much. We got school tomorrow, so a lot of things.
So with that final play, you guys each got $500, a $1,000 first place prize. What are you guys planning on doing with this money?
I'm probably gonna give it to my parents. I don't really spend that much money, so
How kind and generous. I think many of the Scrabble playing parents out there would be happy to have you.
Um, it'll probably get saved, whether it's me or my parents or anything. Like, it's probably not gonna get spent right away.
Well, I mean, when it does get spent, I hope it's on a lot of ice cream and a lot of pizza. Yeah? Ice cream? Pizza? Yeah? Okay. So, just going back to the game and breaking it down, what was one of your favorite moments of the game? When did you feel the most excited, the most exuberant, the most like, yes, this is it?
I think once we challenged that last play, I don't remember what it was, but
It was Brigade or
yeah, that once we saw that be not good, that was relieving.
probably the first play of the game when she drew really good tiles and we had a bingo that eased both of us into the game really well. So
Absolutely, that did just follow you guys through the game.
starting with the bingo is always a wonderful way to just slightly give yourself a nice advantage to set yourself at ease.
Yeah.
Now, on the counter side, was there any moment in that game that really scared you? Was there any moment that drew both of you in?
after I played Yet, only then did I realize that they could play Let's underneath for 30, and I got really stressed after that. So
It was definitely when they needed to pause the game and check their score sheets, because I thought, did we do something wrong or did something wrong happen? So that was quite stressful.
All right, and you're both in 8th grade, right? So this is your last year in the middle school division. Do you guys plan to go on to the high school division and bring your reign of terror there?
maybe. Probably actually so. Yeah.
I'm not sure yet, but I think I will.
That's good to hear. All right, thank you so much for your time, you guys, and congratulations again. Just beautifully, beautifully played. Really well done. It was great to see you here again, and can't wait to see you guys in the high school division.
Well done.